review for Where the Buffalo Roams, starring Bill Murray and Peter Boyle. This is from 1980. It is based on Hunter S. Thompson, and he's one of the writers on it. It's the synopsis: semi-biographical film based on the experiences of gonzo journalist Hunter S. Thompson. So I just watched The Rum Diary, and so I figured I'd check this out. I watched it years ago. I remember thinking it was okay, and I just rewatched it. It's interesting. I've never read any Hunter S. Thompson. I think I may go read some of him because interesting, kind of quirky guy, and in this movie kind of jumps from different periods, but it starts out with him. He checked himself into like a hospital, and he's trying to get a hold of Peter Boyle, who's his attorney. He has on the IV drip like wild turkey, and he's like slurping it. I mean, in this movie, I mean, in pretty much all of them, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's been a while, a lot of drinking, a lot of drug use, which I assume that was like how Hunter S. Thompson rolled. Seems like he was just constantly drunk and on drugs. But, so Peter Boyle then shows up, and he's like, you got to get out of here. So they do, they leave. And then there's like multiple time jumps in the movie. I like Peter Boyle a lot. I just looked up his IMDb. Man, he died in 2006. I didn't even realize that. And very good actor, interesting actor. He was he's in Young Frankenstein, obviously. He's in Taxi Driver. He's in a bunch of stuff. I think he's in Everybody Loves Raymond. Wasn't he his brother? So but yeah, I'd say the best part of this movie is Peter Boyle and Bill Murray. And just kind of the crazy exploits they get to. Like there's a scene, it's probably one of the best scenes in the movie when he's on the plane. He's covering the Nixon election. He's not a fan of Nixon. He even in the Rum Diaries they get into that. He really does not like Nixon, which I guess is understandable considering what ended up happening. But this is before Watergate and everything. It's in 1972. He's not allowed on the normal plane. He gets kicked off by the campaign manager or whatever who hates him, who he later punches in the face. Which I was wondering is this true? Because it's so crazy. And then he gets put on, I think it's like the technician plane. The cameramen and the sound people and all that go along with the campaign. There's like 2 airplanes. And he's on that plane, and there's another journalist on that plane who's like has this headache, who's played by the late great Renee, I'm probably not pronouncing it right, Jonas. But he was in obviously Deep Space Nine as Odo. I'm a big Star Trek fan, so I was like, oh man, that's Odo. He's been in a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, he died in 2019. I mean, he's in MASH 1970. He's in The Patriot. That's right, he's the Reverend. Right. Great actor. Definitely too bad he died. Because a great actor, and in this, totally different role than Odo, because he's playing a journalist from I think the Washington Post or something. And he's got this headache, and Bill Murray sits next to him, and then Bill Murray, is popping these pills, and then he's like, oh, is that aspirin? And then Bill Murray's like, yeah, you should, you want one? You want some? And he's like, okay. So then he pours it out, and he's like, oh yeah, the blue ones. No one's ever complained about those. So he takes two of them, and then in the next scene, he's like running around in the plane, like screaming, singing "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds." Like, I don't know what he gave him, but it's a pretty hilarious scene. I mean, pretty messed up. He gives this guy these hardcore psychedelic drugs, and he doesn't even know what they are. But then he ends up taking his journalist pass and posing as him, which then leads to a scene in a men's bathroom where Nixon goes in and takes a piss, and then they kind of talk, and I don't know. It's basically Nixon basically saying like he hates poor people. I think that's what the conversation's about. And then he's in the plane and he's posing as this journalist, and then Peter Boyle shows up as his attorney, who in the scenes previously like tried to fight this judge and threw this guy at this judge when he was an attorney. So then that gets him kicked out of being an attorney, and now he's like this revolutionary who's trying to start this revolution in America or something. And Bill Murray's kind of distancing himself from him, because even for him, he says, you're insane. But he shows up, he goes on the plane, he sits next to Bill Murray. Then the campaign manager gets angry at him and says, oh, you're not allowed to be on here. So he kicks him out again. Bill Murray punches the guy. I think is this supposed to be Air Force One? Because Nixon is in the back, like a back room. And then Bill Murray pulls out like a fire extinguisher and starts spraying everyone in the plane, including spraying Nixon in the face. And I was just like, how do you not get arrested for this? Like, wouldn't this be like a huge crime? But I don't know. I mean, it's semi-biographical. I think he did write a book about his coverage of it's a 1972 campaign. So yeah, just a crazy movie. A lot of crazy scenes. It jumps around. Like in one, Bill Murray is writing about the Super Bowl Sunday. He's in his hotel room. He's like partying with the staff. They're like playing indoor football, of course, drinking tons of alcohol. And then Peter Boyle shows up and he's like, hey, come with me. And then Bill Murray's like, I need to finish this, because he actually wants to finish it for his deadline. He works for this magazine. And Peter Boyle gets all angry at him. So then Bill Murray's like, okay, fine, I'll go with you. And then he does, and then in this pretty funny scene, they sell their Super Bowl tickets for like these guys drinking. I don't know if they're homeless or what, but drinking wine on the side of the road, and he sells them the Super Bowl tickets for the wine they're drinking and his hat, and then he gives them the keys to his room. So, but then they end up going out in the middle of nowhere into this cabin with these revolutionaries. And Bill Murray doesn't really like them. And then they end up importing illegal weapons and grenades. And then they create an airstrip where a plane lands. And then I guess like the FBI or something has a helicopter that's chasing them. And they all get into the plane except for Bill Murray. And then it cuts to the next scene. So it's kind of how the movie's structured. It kind of just jumps around. This is directed by Art Linson. He did like one more movie after this. Then I think produced a bunch of movies. So kind of like odd. Like why? It's kind of like the Rum Diary. Why choose that director? I don't know. Maybe he was friends with Hunter S. Thompson. Maybe he was friends with Bill Murray. I'm not sure. It's kind of odd, but I think it was fine. It was well directed. I mean it's nothing amazing. It's not like it's Scorsese or something, but it's directed okay. I thought it's competently directed, just like the Rum Diary. I thought was competently directed. But if I had to choose between the three, this about Hunter S. Thompson esque movies, this Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and the Rum Diary, I'd say Fear and Loathing's the best. It's also Terry Gilliam, so and then I'd say this and the Rum Diary are about I'd say about equal. They're different because in the Rum Diary, that's over 10 years earlier because that's 1960, and he's not as crazy. He definitely drinks a lot, but he's not as crazy. So the movie isn't as wacky or anything, but yeah, Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars. I mean, I guess I don't think it's an amazing movie, but it's fun to watch. So Dr. Hunter S. Thompson, yeah, they call him doctor. So I'm like, did he have a doctorate in journalism? I don't know. Is the he said, and this is Ebert, is the high priest of gonzo journalism, a reporting style in which reporter throws himself widely into the event he is reporting, so that in a way he becomes the event. Carl Laszlo, not his real name, was a Mexican American attorney Thomas met in the late 1960s and immortalized in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, a book in which speaking as your attorney, yeah, speaking as your attorney, you should do this. Speaking as your attorney, you should do this. Speaking as your attorney, I recommend this. It's pretty funny. Laszlo regularly advised his client to ingest large quantities of booze, drugs, and pills. The purpose to ward off paranoia and insanity as the two engaged on drunken odyssey through the craziness of the Vegas Strip. The Vegas book was followed by Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail, in which Thompson terrorized the 1972 presidential campaign. As a correspondent for Rolling Stone, well, that's interesting. They actually changed the name in the movie to it's like The Blaze, I think. Yeah, I think it was The Blaze, a magazine. So they're supposed to be Rolling Stone, okay. His mere presence was enough to cause terror in the hearts of advanced men. The last appearance, or rather disappearance, of Laszlo in Thompson's writing is in The Banshee Screams for Buffalo Meat, a 1976 Rolling Stone article in which the doctor speculates that his attorney has disappeared for good and been murdered. Where the Buffalo Roam is a comedy inspired by the relationship between Thompson and Laszlo, the credits say it is based on the twisted legend of Dr. Hunter S. Thompson. The doctor has become an American folk legend not only through his increasingly infrequent and incoherent Rolling Stone articles, but also through his frequent walk-ons as Raoul Duke. Excuse me. In the comedic strip Doonesbury. We know his uniform, eye shade, cigarette holder, garish Hawaiian shirts, Bermuda shorts, bottle of wild turkey or similar beverage. Yeah, he loves wild turkey, man. So he just kind of says it's meandering. It's okay. We laugh at these moments. This is kind of a bad of this. This is the kind of bad movie that's almost worth seeing. But there are large things wrong with Where the Buffalo Roams. One of them is this depiction of the relationship between Thompson and Laszlo. That's what the movie is supposed to be about, and yet we never discover why these two characters like one another. It's true. What is their relationship aside from the coincidence that they happen to get stoned or drunk together in bizarre circumstances? Are they even really friends? Because the movie's central relationship just isn't there. The events don't matter so much. We get bizarre episodes, but no insights. Yeah, at one point, even Murray says, "Oh yeah, people were wondering where you were." because he disappears for a few years, and he's like, "Not me." So it's like, yeah, it's like, I mean, are they even friends? Because it seems like by the end, Bill Murray's or Thompson is just sick of him because he's even crazier than he is. The other problem is that Dr. Thompson's character never seems to really feel the effects of the chemicals he hurls so recklessly at his system. Yeah, Murray portrays Thompson well, but in a mostly one level performance. He walks through the most insane situations with a quizzical monotone, a gift for understatement, a drug induced trance. Any real person drinking and drugging like Thompson would have an occasional high and more than occasional disastrous low. Here he has neither. So, yeah, I'd agree with that. So to get into the character, Bill Murray spent time with Hunter Thompson by drinking, shooting, generally having a great time at the Thompsons' Colorado ranch. After filming ended, Murray continued to act gonzo through the beginning of the next season of Saturday Night Live, to the annoyance and the consternation of the crew. Hunter S. Thompson was eventually brought aboard the film's production as executive consultant, but claimed he never had no substantial role other than that. Wandered around and fired machine guns on the set. He's like, lucky he doesn't kill anyone. So, I mean, his name I thought was on the script, but that's probably because it's based on his work. Oh, stories as Hunter S. Thompson. Okay, yeah, that's because it's based on an article he wrote, or I mean, I think it became a book. Martin Scorsese. I meant mentioning Scorsese. Wow, I didn't. Martin Scorsese briefly considered directing the film with Jack Nicholson starring. Both ended up passing on the project. Oh, that's interesting. Jack Nicholson, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, and John Belushi were considered to star as Hunter S. Thompson. I could see any of them do it. Yeah, I think Bill Murray's the right one for the time, though. Maybe Nicholson. That could have been interesting. Bill Murray was the first actor to portray Hunter S. Thompson in a film or television feature. Bill Murray and Hunter S. Thompson were concerned about the film's lack of continuity, adding voiceover narration in the early 1980. When the film was sneak previewed in late March, the last two scenes in narration were missing. Murray was outraged. 3 days before it was released in theaters, a press screening was suddenly canceled because of the editing problems. Before principal photography began, the director took a 4-month crash course in directing. Yeah, I know, it's just strange. And then he directed one more movie after this, like 4 years later. Debut debut theatrical feature film scored by composer and songwriter Neil Young. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it though. It's an interesting movie. I thought it was entertaining. It's not amazing, but it's kind of like the Rum Diary. I think it's a solid movie that is entertaining. I'd maybe watch again. So, but yeah, if you could do me a favor and smash that like button, that'd be great. And yeah, check it out. Where the Buffalo Roam. I don't think I'm really spoiling much because I don't think it's that kind of movie, honestly. It's just kind of like you're with Hunter S. Thompson as he goes on these wacky adventures. So, but yeah, that's about it. See you next time.